It's a Track Stitch podcast coming up. Great news as the pod is back for 2026. We weren't cancelled by the network, the People's Podcast. We are here. Shano is going to join me as we discuss the Summer of Sam. The amazing historical season from Sam Ruthe continues down under. We go head to head, have a bit of fun with a Track Stitch quiz, and then an epic mailbag came through from one of our super fans with a bunch of predictions for 2026. We are going to go over all those and so much more. But first, as always, they are back. It is the Track Stitch Band.
It's the track.
Sunday, January the 4th, a day later in Auckland, New Zealand. Shane Ruthe, Happy New Year. We are back. The networks did not cancel us. Back for another year.
Yeah. Is it freedom of speech or freedom of podcasting?
We're like Riggs and Murtaugh on Lethal Weapon 2. We're back.
Well, I hope we're not like Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan, once he got famous, like obviously we're going to get, they went back all the sort of all the naysayers, the haters, and they dug up all this stuff that he'd done and said like back in like 1904. Yeah, and he was most aggrieved by it. So I suppose we'll take it if it means we get rich and famous from our little podcast. I don't see it
might given how aggregated.
Yeah, aggregated.
Someone will go back over the first 21 episodes and listen to every controversial thing. We've done quite well, though. I don't believe we're very controversial here. So,
but the thing is, you can't get cancelled if you've never made it, right?
Yeah, that's also a great point. Hey, it's the middle of winter here, and technically at least it is for me and for the European track season, certainly not down in your neck of the woods in New Zealand. You'd think that things are a bit quiet in the world of track and field running, but incredibly, there's so much to talk about. Sam Ruthe, the Summer of Sam just continues. The Ruthe tour down under just keeps rolling.
The sister ran. I saw a Ben Ruthe post. Is it a sub 250? It said I just saw the last 50 meters or something. But yeah, she's 14.
I know, and some incredible talent and application, obviously, in that family. And then, so we discussing what we're going to do for the pod today. We've got the Summer of Sam. We'll go into that one. We're going to have a bit of fun with a classic JSV Rohde quiz. And then I've got a bit of a surprise to you. We've got the greatest mailbag that has ever come through, a legit mailbag from number one podcast superfan. Whoops, there goes Wilson.
It's almost more of a thesis, I would suggest.
The greatest mailbag ever was sent in by the new number one podcast superfan, Neil Sargent. He's taken over from Sammy Maloney because we still don't know whether Sammy's caught up with all the podcasts yet, but we'll get into that one as Neil made this an incredible list of predictions for 2026 that will also help us with some of our predictions. So should we just get right into it with the Summer of Sam? He's done it again. I mean, what else can you say? This is. Yeah, I've got his performances here. This is just basically over the last 6 weeks. Okay, 800 meters, 146.81. 1,000 meters, which was run a couple of nights ago, 217.82. 1,500, 338.62, and of course the 1340.48 5,000 meters. What can you say?
I mean, you said to me, you're generally more conservative with me in your predictions, but you said to me after the 338, he was in 334 shape. And I was a bit like, no, but some people are just very good, and because I don't think the delta or the improvement in those overseas races compared to what he'd run in New Zealand was a massive delta. With some people, you put them in a time trial and they're pretty hapless, but then they run great in the pack. But I think you're right. I think maybe 333. I mean, if you forget the fact he's 16 and you look at those credentials, and a 146 guy can run 1340, he ran 217 for a K, and he did a lot of it on his own.
Yeah, I mean, that 217 to me, even though I think I read somewhere that the 217, it kind of matches up with 146 and 338.
It's better though.
I don't know about you. It just feels like that is the best performance out of all of them. It's a tough distance, right? It's that, you've still got to run well under 150 for 800, and you've still got to put together a really good last 200. I just feel like that's a really, really good performance. That's probably the most impressive one to me. If you'd asked me, even knowing that he's run 146 and 338 and 1340, what he would have run for a K, I would have thought, well, if he runs under 219, or if he runs 219 and change, I would have thought that was good.
I think the camp thought that too, right? They were pretty bullish.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible performance.
Yeah, thinking run under 220. I mean, what is he? He ran through in just under 149. Bear in mind, he'd never broken 149 until that 146, and then he runs like 29.
Yeah,
crazy.
And can you remember what Nick ran? Nick Willis, our good friend Nick.
Nick ran, I'm gonna say, 216.83 or 93. 216.
Very close.
93.
216.58.
58.
And that was in where was it? Was it the Google Meet in Linz? So big pro meet there for Nick. He was going after Snell's national record that day, and only just over a second ahead of this performance from Sam Ruthe. Where do we go from here? I mean, we've got some of these New Zealand meets obviously coming up. The Cook's Gardens Classic, which presumably there'll be a mile on there. I'm pretty sure he's going to run the mile in that one, and then some of these meets in Australia. But I mean, yeah, it's sort of starting to run out of superlatives at the moment. I said to you earlier via text that obviously he is only 17 in April. I just honestly don't look at him anymore as a 16-year-old. I really don't. I mean, it is clear that he is so advanced. This combination of like prodigal talent plus his ability plus the nurturing of Craig and Ben and the whole camp there. It's like I just don't really look at him as 16. I know he still is, and so it's a thing with respect to these age group performances, etc. But I almost look at him now the same way that I look at like Cooper Lichtenhouse. It's become clear more than ever that there is this spectrum of development that once you get into sort of 16, you can have accelerated development in terms of your physiology, your endocrine system, whatever you want to call it. And he's just so advanced right now and just so good that nothing really surprises me. So I guess it's redefined almost my expectations of what we're going to see, which is why I think he could run 333, 34 incredibly, maybe 145 and change, which just is absurd. Yeah. The other thing I mentioned to you too, is this has to be, irrespective of age, one of the great summers already by a New Zealand middle distance runner running down in New Zealand, right? Not since who's had a better season than this so far? Like in history, maybe definitely you'd have to say Snell because he broke multiple world records. Walker probably had some great seasons where he ran some fast times, right?
Did you break it up a little bit then? Yeah.
Oh, was I? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying that who's had a better season in terms of all age group athletes in New Zealand since Sam Ruthe, like down under. New Zealand's not an easy place to run in terms of the weather, etc. Like the meets aren't really big. We don't get a lot of focus, a lot of top athletes coming down. It's hard to imagine a better season from even a senior athlete.
Well, no one has. I mean, I remember watching Nick run up in North Harbour Bays at Murray Bay in 2013, running 336. That was pretty cool. And then he ran that 352 mile against Mottram. But these are one-off, disparate, separated performances. Like you said, as a collection of work. I mean, mean, to be fair to someone like Willis, like he's not going to come here and run so many races, and the only reason that Sam Ruth's doing it is because he's 16 and he lives here still and he's a kid. But no. And if we're just talking factually about is there a better collection of world body of work from a middle distance runner in New Zealand? No, I mean not since those great athletes.
Yeah, exactly. Snell, Walker, etc. So I don't know. Anything else to add from your side? I guess right now it's just relaxing and
I mean it's like
the show.
It's like when like I've said before in the NBA, when like a LeBron or a Zion Williamson or people, is this the next sort of great? There's that exuberance and excitement, and also that kind of like, just like I said, you're sitting on this precious jewel of an athlete, and you just hope it can continue. It's like, I mean, there's no reason it can't, but it's just like, man, like every time you think he's like, I even thought after last year, as long as he's preserved his condition and his interest in the sport, like he doesn't need to do anything for 12 months, 8-9 months, like as long as he's developing steadily. Like I remember Nick went up a bit and came down a bit, went up a bit, and then really shot up when he was about 19, about 20, 21.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's like you said, run out of superlatives.
So I wanted to run this by you. Just this, I've got a bit of a theory as to why we've got so many young athletes running amazingly right now. And I thought about this the other day when I was out running. Like, when we look globally, we've got Quincy Wilson over in the US, right? He's running low 44 seconds for 400 meters. He was 16 when he first ran. I think he ran 44.20 when he was 16, 44.1 now that he's 17. Obviously, Cooper Luchtenhaus, 142.3 in the US final at 16. Now we've got a variety of performances. So we've kind of got a really nice sort of sample set over 400, 800, and then the longer distances. These guys at 16 years of age that are dropping performances that, like, if you saw an 18 or 19, even a top junior athlete, you'd be like, man, those are great performances for a junior. And I thought to myself, like, well, how can this be? Why have we got to this level now? Because we've always had like physiological outliers throughout the course of history. I said to you and Stu on our text, I'm like, myself at the age 15 and 16, I was like an early developer as well, and that helped me be quite successful at age group and secondary school level, just compared to you guys. And guys like Sam and Luchtenhaus, they're on a next step up from myself. But I thought, really, one of the primary reasons this is a completely run by you, feel free to share. Access to information is by far the biggest factor in why these guys are so good now. And I know that sounds very mechanical and a bit nerdy, but here's what I mean by that. When I was sort of 15 or 16 years old and I was getting into it, my coach, Julian, bless him, great coach, he just wasn't interested in learning about other theories of training and what other athletes are doing. Like, he had a way that he was coaching me, and I was more than happy just to do the work and enjoy it, etc., etc. And it was more on my shoulders because, as you know, I was a super geek and a nerdy kid who was hardcore into wanting to learn about the sport. And I had a dedicated training for distance runners book, which was just the most difficult book to read. And back in our era, if we wanted to find out, the training schedules of like Wilson Kipketer or Hisham El Garouj, we were going on mum and dad's dial-up. And I can even remember like printing out on a dot matrix printer sort of schedules of these guys. At some point, I had no idea whether they were actually accurate or not, right? We all remember those hilarious old web pages back in the 90s, etc. And I was beginning to think about them like, well, even though I had some insight into maybe what Wilson, Kipketer, or Seb Coe were doing for training, relevant was that as a 15, 16-year-old, because those guys were very different athletes even than I was, clearly not just on level of performance, but physiologically. I mean, myself at the age of 15 or 16, I was probably taller and heavier than both those guys were when they were senior athletes. Now we live in this era where there's so much access to the different training that tons of different athletes do, right? And it's not just coming through on a one-page, 123 kilobyte website, right? A web page. Like, you can go to Instagram, you can go to Facebook, you can go to TikTok, you can see YouTube, you can see all the workout guys are doing. You can learn so much from them. I thought about Lookton House. I'm like, man, if I'd been a young 15, 16-year-old and I looked at Cooper Lookton House, I'd be like, man, that guy is who I would compare myself to, a bigger kid, more 400, 800. And now I can actually watch his workouts and see what he does and see not just like the performances listed on a page, but I can see how he runs them. Then I can watch him race. I can learn so much. And now you multiply that 100-fold because you've got all these different athletes, from your top high school athletes to your top collegians to your top pros, all putting their workouts out there. And it's the good coaches, the great coaches like a Craig Kirkwood, who's doing a great job. I'm sure these guys, because this is how you become great, like you're garnering this information and you're seeing how it can apply to your athletes, and the athletes are looking at themselves and learning. And so I guess my point is, and I know I've rambled on a bit here, but I guess the point is that all this access to information has helped sort of tailor the way that athletes think about training, the things that they do in training. They can be so much more specific. They can see what is right, what is wrong for them. And that's really helped to maximize these kind of physiological outliers at a young age, like a Lookton House or a Quincy Wilson, or as we're talking about here, Sam Ruthe. That's my theory.
As you know, I'm in the recovery from addiction community, and someone said to me once that the demise of Western civilization can be loosely traced back to the demise of organized religion as a center point in society. And when I first heard that, I was sort of turned my nose up a bit, because I'm not a devout follower of any particular religion. But he went further to explain that it was not so much the religion that was the be all and end all, or the answer, but it was more that it was a better forum for faith and community than the corporation. And yeah, it's sort of hard to argue with that. Still, it was, as much as everything that's gone on in organized religion and how humans have fucked with religion and the doctrine, it's better than going to work as your source of, and capitalism. A little bit like that with Craig Kirkwood. I mean, he was with Kim McDonald, right? He with the Kenyans, he was training with Noah Nien before he won the Olympics. So you've got a guy with passion, knowledge, and now you build into that, like you said, the access to information now in terms of what everyone's doing. I remember talking to Nick Willis once about how open everything is now. Everyone kind of can figure out what everyone's up to.
Totally.
So and then I saw a photo the other day with Craig Kirkwood. I didn't realize how many young athletes he's got down there. So this guy, Sam, with his, with Craig and his parents and his sister, he's like the little king of the castle in this community. And imagine like that compared to you. And you were quite a solitary character anyway, but you often little Napier with your little Julian, doing your thing. Imagine having like 30 kind of little, I don't want to be derogatory towards the other athletes, because often, as we know, as what happened with Walsh and if you even forget his name now, that's how telling that is. But it's great that they've got this community of young athletes that it would feel like, it would feel like like the perfect little forum, and it just anesthetizes how difficult it all is as well to have them all there. It would be fun. They're down at the mount, they're training, they're racing. So, yeah, good on them. Oh, the only other point I'd have is I don't think, in my mind, Lookton House is quite a different. I don't know a lot about Quincy Wilson, so I won't speak about him. But
yeah,
Lookton House and Sam, I think Sam is, to me, Lookton House is already, like you said, which leads into exactly what you're saying. I think you did right about how developed these kids are. He's already put up one of the great 800-meter times of all time and went to the Olympics. So this isn't meant to be derogatory towards him, but his body of work and his development, I think, is even more accelerated, a lot more accelerated than Sam Ruthe. Sam Ruthe's quite slender. Yes, he's developed, but he's got a great physique. If he stayed the physique he has now as a senior, you'd say it's the perfect physique. It's kind of Walker-esque. Whereas Lookton House is built like a brick shit house. He's basically a 25-year-old,
Yeah, and I just think they're different. They're different runners. I mean, they're different. It's like Sam's more in that maybe he was even smaller, but you're right. Luchtenhaus is a big one-terrainer, David Rudisha style figure,
Mm.
and Sam is more,
Even more solid than them, though. He's so solid.
Luchtenhaus?
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, either way, he's just a big kid, right?
Big
And I mean, I think the point is that it's just, for example, if you're a 14-year-old, 13 or 14-year-old kid looking up to these guys, right? You don't need to look at the training of Emmanuel Wanyoni or, Jakob Ingebrigtsen. You can look up and say, man, I can look at what Cooper Luchtenhaus is doing. I can look at what Sam Ruthe is doing. And I can ask myself, hey, who do I more resemble? Or if you've got a really good coach, they could say, well, clearly you're more a Sam Ruthe type runner, or you're a more Luchtenhaus runner. Let's look at what they're doing exactly in training and how we can modify that to our approach. And, 25, 30 years ago, again, we were just trying to pick up scraps of information. You there?
Yeah. I can hear. So yeah.
All good. No, we were just trying to pick up scrap of information to deduce ways to get better. And it's just like now with the advent of social media and this,
it's just breaking up a little bit. Sorry.
It'd be a great world to come up in. All good?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good. It's just breaking up a little bit. No, I can hear you throughout all that. It was in terms of it. I totally agree. Although here's one for you. So Pesci Cerruti was quoted as saying that he had seen so many different ways to coach Olympic middle distance champions that his firm belief towards the end of his coaching career was that what an athlete does off the track and their mindset, their community was more important than the actual physical training. So, I think it's both. I mean, just seeing that photo with Craig Cook with all these athletes there and the influence, and maybe it's maybe both are very important.
Yeah. No, 100%. Well, either way, things are looking up for the summer of Sam down under. I mean, it's I cannot wait to see what's going to happen. Obviously, sounds like a fast mile happening in Wanganui. I don't know if we want to make any predictions yet. We can do that in a podcast close to the event, but I've got a number in my mind that that might shock you. We can have a good under over. You're right. Speaking of competitions. Speaking of competitions,
could he run 352 or something? I mean, it's not. I mean, what did Webb run? 350 back in 353 back in was it 2000 or 2001? Around then, yeah, around then.
353.18 in Prefontaine, and it seems like from what we've seen so far with Sam Ruthe, he's got no problem just taking control of races. A lot of pace, need a lot of pace help. I wonder if Sam Tanner will be in that race. I heard potentially James Preston, New Zealand 800 meter record holder, might be in that race. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting.
That was still a great run from Alan Webb, wasn't it? When you think that it was 2001, old shoes, the training hadn't developed that's just totally awesome.
Yeah, and that was also back in the day. I think, what did El Garouge win that race in? It wasn't. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of funny, the Prefontaine Mile for a longest period of time, and we've talked about this with how periodization has changed so much, or the concept of periodization has changed so much in the last 20 years. El Garouge would obviously go out for the Prefontaine Classic because it was part of his contractual obligation with Nike, but I think he only broke 350 there once, and a lot of the winning times are over 350 just because the guys were never in shape. And now the fact that you've got so many athletes, I think it was a couple of years ago in that famous race where Josh Kerr won in 345, he just beat Jakob in his comeback race. There were 10 guys under 350 there. Yeah. And actually, I've got a feeling that this year, speaking of that and the mile, I'm pretty sure Sam Ruthe is going to be there for probably the invitational mile, or the international mile, which is the sort of the B race, but not really. It's full of, who was 1 in 348 last year by Ethan Strand, so I think he's going to be there for that one. Shane, should we put ourselves to the test here? Quiz
Yeah.
time.
It's very hard to know how hard or easy to go on this. I've got, yeah. Who's going to go first?
Well, it was your suggested segment, so I think you should
Okay.
kick. Do we want to go one for one and just
No,
see how we go?
Let's just go. I'll do my 5, right? And then
Okay.
and then yeah.
And am I going to answer them after each
individual
question?
After each one. They're not long questions.
All right.
Okay. Although a couple of them one of them might spare some debate. Okay, so Khalid Scar or Dave Moorcroft, who's got the faster 5,000 meter personal best?
Oh. I know that Moorcroft ran 13:00 point. The question is, did Khalid Scar break 13 minutes? I don't think he did. I think Dave Moorcroft has got a faster 5,000 meter PR.
Very good. 13:00.41 Moorcroft, 13:00.54 Khalid Scar.
Yes.
Okay.
Johnny Gray. A little bit loaded because you
was.
Off the top, you would think that it was.
It was, but I was trying to like double cross you, so it was good. Well done. Okay, Johnny Gray's then American record of 1 minute 42.60 was broken more times by Wilson Kipketer or David Rudisha, and bonus points for guessing how many times each of those athletes broke 142.60.
142.60. Koblenz 1985. That was when he did it. Surely I get a bonus point for that. Who broke that time more, Kipketer or Rudisha? I think it was Kipketer, because I know that Rudisha sort of had his period around 09 to obviously 2012, and then I don't think he may have only run one time faster than that, which was 2016 to win the Olympics. So I'm going to say it's Kipketer. The number of times that Kipketer broke 142.60, geez, I think that it might be 14 times.
According to my source, which I think was credible, you were right. Kipketer broke. Sorry, you were right that he broke it more times.
Yeah,
but it was closer than you'd think. Kipketer 11, Rudisha 10.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm taking that as a huge win.
Yeah, that's a win.
Yeah,
yeah, and and what was interesting though is if you'd moved that down to 142.3, it was heavily in favour of Rudisha. Kipketer ran a lot more times in the 140s. Rudisha had a lot more under 142.
That's right. Yes, yep. Rudisha, because Kipketer only ran. He ran under 142. This would be a good one. He ran, obviously, the world record, 41.11, 41.24. He ran 141.73. He tied the record in Stockholm. And then he ran one other time under 142, which was in Rieti. He ran 141.83 in 1996. So he only ran 4 times. And David Rudisha, especially, in that real heyday period, 2010 to 2012, I think Rudisha probably doubled that. I think he probably ran 8 times under 142. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. 14 times to 11. I'll take it.
Okay. Now there's a slight there's like a Simon Says type of twist to this question that may catch you out. Who has a faster listed, according to World Athletics, 400-meter personal best? Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone or Jason Stewart?
Oh, it's Sydney. 100%. I think according to, I haven't looked at the old profile in a long time, but I'm pretty sure I may have 38 listed there. Okay.
Listed, but didn't you run 47.7 though?
Yeah, and like the German, like South German Bavarian something championships way back in. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure her time would be listed. I think 40, was it 49.78 or 49.79? Very, very close to her PR over, or she's close to.
Given you're an agent now, you could use your connections to contact them to correct it.
I really don't care that much about that one. That'd be funny though. Hey,
next week I go on there and it's been changed. I don't care about that. Very good, well done. And the next one, an athlete on the men's.
3 for 3. So I'm 3 for 3.
You're doing very well.
Yes.
An athlete on the men's side was was fourth at 2 consecutive Olympics and fourth at a World Champs the year before that first Olympics. Yeah. So he was, to summarize, second in 2 Olympics. Fourth in 2 consecutive Olympics and fourth in a World Champs. Who was it and what event?
Oh my God.
It's a tough one. I can narrow it a bit more if off the face. We've talked about this guy before.
So it's
give you a clue. It was late 80s, early 90s was the period. That's your first clue.
Was it okay? This would be awesome if I get this one. Was it Joseph?
It was.
It was.
It was fourth in the 87 in the World Champs and fourth in the 88 1500 and fourth in the 92 1500.
I'm giving that one. That's the Dixon. I'm giving that Dixon to the heavens. I can't believe I got that one.
It was very well done. Robbie Johnson got me with that one because I've always been a track geek. And then I remember he asking me on a trip to Rotorua for training, and I was so impressed by the question. I went and looked it up, and I was like, he's dead right.
Might have blown out the microphone there. Sorry for that one.
And I rang him and I said to him, there's no one called, because he was calling him as supposed to be pronounced Joseph Chisera. And I rang up and I said, there's no one called that. Yeah, Robbie, its name's Joseph Cheshire. And he said, it's freaking Chisera, you dickhead. I was on the circuit with him.
All right. So.
Oh, okay. And your last question.
Yeah.
You're 4 from 4.
That was a good one.
And we've decided to end it with a very tough question because I just couldn't handle you getting 5 out of 5. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Who was the only ever 3-time winner of the Sculler Up steeplechase?
Jeez. Well, I know that PC Phil did it a few times, but I'm gonna have to say that there's only one man that would focus his entire season on the Sculler Up steeples. Is it Ken Sammy Maloney?
It is Ken Sammy Maloney. 5 for 5.
Nature's own. Bill with a Harold Holt Avenue's own Sammy Maloney, 3-time Sculler. I mean, hey, a little bit of jest, but I bet that was a tough race to win. I think a lot of like Australasia's top cross country stallions came over for that one or took it on. So I'm sure he beat some guys over the years.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Okay. 5 out of 5. That's good. I think my questions for you are in a similar vein. I hope they're not too difficult. But I mean, I think they're going to be fine. Okay. Your first question, 19 World 5,000 meter final.
Sorry, you broke up a little bit there. Yeah.
You back? All right, sorry. 1997 World 5,000 meter final.
Yeah.
A race that you know very well. Tom Nairiki takes the race through to 3,000 meter. Daniel Komen drops an epic split from 3,000 to 3,800 meters. What was that split? And you've got basically a half-second buffer. Broke the field open. Can you remember how fast Daniel Komen ran that next 800 meters in?
Yeah. Is it 156?
You've got to go to the 10th.
Because it's a 58.38 and a. If I've got a half second, I'm gonna.
Yeah. You should get this.
And I'm gonna say 156.6.
Very good. It was 156.7.
Yeah.
He split 156. He actually ran a 56.6 for that first lap. 60.1. Just blew the field open. One of the most incredible. I mean, we talked this quiz. This would segue us into all these different talking points. I mean, a lot of people talk about the Bekele, 2008 5,000 meter final in Beijing as the masterclass of 5,000 meter running. But I tell you what, that performance from Coleman in '97 to run 156.6 and at the end of it, he's just basically like training, like kind of training float over the final 600 to win a world title.
Champs. Yeah.
And like Dieter Baumann was in there and Tom Nairiki was in there and the Moroccan guys. Okay, there you go. Right, you're 1 for 1. Here's a good one for you. It's going to make you laugh. Which Swiss runner famously defeated Sebastian Coe and thwarted a world record attempt in the 1,500 meters in Zurich back in 1985? And what was his performance in that race?
That cost me a chicken sandwich as well. It was Pierre Delise.
Yes. Bonus point. What was the time?
Race was it? So
it was Zurich, 1985. Yeah. It was actually by far the biggest race that Delise ever won. And he thwarted Coe. It was a world record attempt.
What year was it?
1985. Went out way too hard. And Delise...
I don't think it was that fast. Like 333 or 334?
No, it was actually Delise's PR, which you thought was 329, and that's what cost you the chicken sandwich. It was 331.75, but you still get the win because technically the question was Pierre Delise. Okay, I think this one here is going to be the most difficult question for you. How many women have done the 800, 1,500 double at the Olympic Games?
Oh. Okay, at the Olympics.
Now, I'm debating whether I should actually give you the number and then ask you to name. Is that easier? I mean, that is easier.
Let's see first if I can do it.
Yeah.
And then
this is the Joseph Chisire of your question set, by the way.
Okay, so 1 second. So just give me another minute or so. So just
talk us through your logic.
24. No one's done it. No one's done it since Kelly Holmes. Kelly Holmes did it. Svetlana Mastakova did it. Mm-hmm. Did anyone else ever do it? That's the big one. Let's just work through it. So 96.
Mastakova.
Yeah. And then 92, it was the Algerian woman, Balmerka, and it was Ellen van Langen in the 800. So it wasn't that. 88 was, I don't believe there was a double. 84. I'm gonna just say those two.
It's incorrect, and it was.
Let's just give me a clue then in terms of how many times, and
there was 3. All right, okay. So I'll tell you, it happened in 19. Geez, now I need to make sure. It was either 72 or 76 by an Eastern Bloc athlete. But you definitely know the name. Hold on.
1 second. Was it 72 or 76? One of those years.
Yeah, hold on. I'll tell you. Yeah, I don't think that necessarily matters, but it was in 1976. Eastern Bloc athlete. So think of an athlete from that era. This is really testing you.
Paula Ivan she was from Romania, wasn't she?
She was from Romania. That was a little bit later in the 80s.
I know Kratok Vileva was
contemporary of Jarmila.
4'8". There's that other woman. I can't remember her name.
Okay. You as soon as I know this, as soon as I say this name, you're going to go, one more?
Oh,
one more chance?
Was she the for Milova's coach?
Yes.
That's gonna fuck me off. 1 second.
You're going to send the podcast.
Yeah, she was Ludmila for Milova's coach.
You're going to send the podcast overtime.
Fuck it. What was her name?
All right, Tatiana Kazinkina.
Annoys me.
Stump the Schwab. I got you.
Piss me off.
We go home. Hey, very good though. Very good though. Like to get Holmes and Mastakova, 2 out of 3 is pretty good. Oh, you get the pass for that one because that was tough. That was the only one I was concerned that was like too tough.
No, that was good. It was a very good question. I should have got it. I don't know who she is.
Yeah, here's a fun one. Men's 1500 meter champions at the Olympic Games, starting from 1956. Go.
19. Oh God, is it 56? Why have I had a mind blank on 1 second? 1956.
Sammy Maloney's going crazy right now. If he's watching,
and I might have to come back to that. Okay. So 60 was Herb Elliott.
Correct.
64 Snell.
Correct.
68 was Kip Kano.
Correct.
72 Pekka Vasala.
Correct.
1976 was Walker.
Of course.
80 was Coe.
Correct.
84 Coe.
Yep.
88 was Peter Rono.
Yeah.
92 was Femi Cacho.
Yeah, you're going to get the rest.
Yeah, the rest are easy. Yeah. No, it's just laborious. It's fine. It's easy from there.
No, I'm still going to do it.
Wait a sec. 1956. This is going to really piss me off as well if I can't get that. So 1 second. Let's just work it out. So Halberg was in that era.
He was. Halberg won that race.
1956. Oh, it was little Irish guy?
Correct.
Oh, and he had the fun. There's a little Irish dude, eh?
That was.
No, I can't remember his name.
Ron Delaney.
Not Ron, as opposed to Ron Burgundy.
Or Ron Stewart.
Ron Stewart. Ron Delaney. He was a really unlikely character.
He was. But do you remember as well, like the image of him coming around? He had the high stepping. Yes, the super high stepping. Like, yeah. He was the Nick Willis with the no heel touch, like totally jacked up calves. Ron Delaney. All right, okay, and to finish off, come on, I just want to hear the names. 96.
96 Cacho, 2000. Oh, I said 96. 96 Morsley.
Yeah.
2000 Noanien, 2004 Algaroos, 2008. 2008. Oh, well, it was Ramsey, right? Originally, and then it was old Alien. What's his name? Spelled Kiprop, and then Willis was third. So 2012 was McCluthie.
Yeah.
2016 is Centro.
Yeah. 20 Jakob and 24 Cole Hocker. Okay, and the last question, this is kind of a real easy one because you actually named this person earlier, much to my chagrin. Who is the Dutch women's 800-meter record holder? The record that Femke Bol was presumably chasing in the year.
Alan Van Lagen.
Correct. Yep. Can you remember the time?
I'm going to say like low 155, 155.0. Bud 5504.
That's a good one. I think it's like 155.2 something, but Alan Van Langen. This is the level of preparation on the show. Oh, actually, it wasn't that fast. It was 155.54.
Pretty good.
Anyway, still won the Olympic Games. That was pretty dang good. Shane, bonus trick question, similar to the Jason Stewart, Sydney McLaughlin, the Rowan question. Well, we know who it was. Where was history's fastest 1,500 meters ever run?
Zurich.
It's a good one. Because here's the question: is history's fastest 1,500 meters and the 1,500 meter world record the same thing? Who knows? No, it would have been. Some people might say Rome. That's an easy one. Others might say it was in Brussels, 2001. Anyway, that is for a different show. Hey, awesome. I think technically I won that because you didn't get Tatjana Kazankina. You did
what?
So I did 5.4. Say that. So I'm defending champion of the Track Stitch quiz for now. I know that's going to annoy you greatly over the next series of questions are going to be way harder.
The scalar up's going to be questions like the scalar up, and Jason Stewart are going to take a back seat.
Needs to exist.
They're going to be so difficult in the next one, and no one's going to get anything.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So moving on, I've got here mentioned this earlier. One of the great viewer mailbags that came through from my good friend Neil Sargison, former New Zealand under 18 2,000 meter steeplechase record holder. Fact. And he sends me this message. He's like, I'm going to send you through my predictions for the year 2026, which we should also do a little bit ourselves.
All former junior national record holders in the steeples or record holders in the steeples are good guys. Stu Kerr, Jeff Shaw. Yeah.
Neil
Sarge, I don't know the guy, but anyone that puts that much effort into a tomb-like sort of level of detail to write to us about track and field has got a pass mark in my books.
Look at this. The guy he sent like a damn Google Doc. I was like, you've done the podcast for us. So what I think we should do here, should we go through Neil's picks or his predictions for 2026? These are from 800 meters to 10,000. We'll see. You know, we can tear them apart if we want to, or we can agree. Maybe that will lead us onto some of our own. Okay, so let's start off here. So Neil says, major events and meetings. All right, obviously there are no Olympics or world champs. Top athletes are going to have a range of events to peak for. They're starting with World Cross, which is actually happening, I think it's next week. World Cross happening next week, Tallahassee, Florida. World Indoors into March. The European Champs Com Games. And then, the non-Commonwealth, non-Europeans will be targeting Diamond League Final, which is in September, the World Ultimate Championships, and then the World Road Champs. Okay. So his predictions are no medalists from the World Indoors or World Cross will medal at the end of year events. That's getting too hard to peak twice in a calendar year at this level. It's a good one. If Scotland and England can convince their top athletes, it could be the saving of athletics at the Commonwealth Games. Australian women will medal in all events except the steeples at the Com Games. And the World Road Champs will be made up of those who don't make the Diamond League Final or the Ultimate Championships. So there are 4 kind of, just general major event predictions there. I think the most interesting one there is probably, we could talk to the peaking twice in the calendar year. I think that's a good one. And then I think a bigger one for us is like the Commonwealth Games, seems to be in a bit of a pickle in terms of, its viability or, what have you moving forward. He seems to think if the top athletes from Scotland and England can go, that could be the saving of the event. What do you think about that? No. Yeah.
Done. It's
tough, isn't it?
It's a noble thought, and it's something that you and I, as well as Sarg, wish was true.
Yes.
But like I thought, for example, Nick winning that Com Games, it was like big news for 36 hours in New Zealand. Then it was fish and chip wrapper. Like there's not enough macroeconomic driver. There's not enough of a macroeconomic drive behind track and field in Commonwealth countries. It's got to come, unfortunately, out of places like the US, like the LA Olympics, and get them throwing all their money. Right. And that's a sad indictment of where society's gone in terms of what matters. But it's not enough to say a Kerr winning. It's not enough to overcome that spotlight glaring only on countries like the US with all the money behind it and all the promotion and the social media. It's not enough.
Yeah, I agree too. I mean, Melbourne was, I think, kind of it was almost like the swan song of the Com Games. I mean, I was there. I can tell you how good it was as an event. It was equally as good in terms of it.
I think it was an outlier because it was of where it was, and the Aussies just put on a show. But I think it had died, like, for example, KL in '98. I think it was dying pretty much from like Auckland onwards.
Yeah, it's funny though. I thought the same thing too, and I was like, man, the Commonwealth Games is kind of getting shitty. But then you go back and you look at like those Com Games that were in Manchester in 2002, Glasgow in when was that one? 2018, I think. Yeah, 2018. Like those were really good events, and even Birmingham last year. I mean, obviously they had that great 1500 showdown with Ollie Hoare and Jake Whiteman, who was the defending world champs at the time. And I went back and looked at some of those. I'm like, man, they're still really good meets, but I just think it's almost a little bit like the Olympics now. I feel when they take them, or like the World Track and Field Championships, when you take them away from like the real the heartbeat nations, it gets tough. And I understand that they want to take them to different places to extend the reach, but I feel like the Com Games sort of has to rotate between old Blighty and Australia, to be perfectly honest, if it's going to be good. So I think,
I mean, when I said before about
on the subcontinent just doesn't work.
LA with the Olympics, the money thing, the other bedrock of support for track is in Europe, right? So the Europeans, the fact Jakob goes and does a lot of the athletes, that's still huge. So you've got sort of old money versus new money, if you like. But I think, so the Europeans is what the Com Games wishes it still was.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now he's got here some event specific ones. We've got the 800, the 1500 mile, the 5K, the 10K, and the steeples. So the 800 meter predictions. Neil Sargison, no world records in either the men's or the women's, but this is a big one. But both will come within 0.3 of a second of breaking it. 5 men under 142, none under 141, under 155, and one under 154. That would obviously ties in.
Oh, so could you slow down on the women? So what was the women's prediction?
The women was 5 women under 155, but only one under 154, which obviously for somebody to come within 0.3 of a second of the world record. So that means there's got to be a woman running 153.58 this year. Femke Bol will revolutionize how the women will be run by being able to negative split off a 57.5 first lap. Most women still running too fast in the first lap and then blowing out to a 59.60 second lap. More competitive racing with bunches still together at the 600 meter point off 155, 156 pace. So I think those are good predictions there in the 800. What do you reckon, Shane? No world records. I think there's the big one in either the men's or the women's, but both are going to come within 0.3 of a second of breaking it. So I think the big talking point really is the women's side there. Do you see a woman running 153?
Let's just cover off the men's. So no world records, check. I agree. Next point, someone coming within 0.3. I could see that happening from
the men.
Like a Hoey or Wanyoni or someone. I could see someone running 141.1 or 2.
Yeah.
Right? I can see that. So I agree with that as well. As for the volume of people running fast in a off year for a championship when they're
Right.
tired from all the back-to-back seasons, I don't think on either the men, and that's probably a good point to segue into the women. I don't think we're going to see a high volume of runners in men's and women's all running really quick. I just don't feel like that's the cycle of life in sport. That's my take. I could, who knows? This may age terribly. On the woman's side, that's where I really separate from Sarge's picks. No, I think
Yeah.
that's fanciful. I think that Keely is. I don't know if she's going to improve a lot more. That's my feeling, but I could be wrong. I don't. What do I know? Femke, I'm even more bearish about for this year. I think Femke could be great, absolutely, but I think we've talked about this before. I think
Right.
Femke, if she sticks at it, a la SML in the women's 400, I think she could be great in 3 years or 2.5 years. I don't think she's just going to come out and run 155. It's not usually how it works.
I think I agree with you. I think it's the real easy, simple logic is to say in a non-championship year, everyone's just going to focus on running fast times and are going to run fast times. You know what the irony is that in general, at least let's think about this over the men's 800 meters. David Rudisha broke the world record in an Olympic year. Emmanuel Wanyoni, the fastest time of the last, since Rudisha won 41.11 was run when actually in the Olympic Games again in the Olympic year. I just, even when you go back to say, you got to go all the way back to Kip Keita in 98, where that was really sort of when he broke the world record there was no championships yet. So I think
And
it's
also
really
with Keita in 98, he had the
oh yes,
the chagrin of missing the Olympics, so he had a point to prove.
Sorry, 97 by the way. 97.
So it's the year after he missed
Yep.
the Olympics for political reasons. Same with
Correct.
Conan missing the Olympics and then going on a tear. So there's got to be which feeds into, there's got to be a broader emotional drive and, or monetary drive or pride. There's got to be something beyond, it's just sensible to try and run quicker this year. It's not, yeah. I mean, so and feeds into a great post I saw from years ago from Renata Canova talking about the Chinese, and if the caterpillar juice and all that, I mean, we can think what we like about what went on there. I know what you and I think, and a lot of students of the sport think about what the Chinese were doing. However, very similar to Spain and with the 92 Olympics, as Canova said, a lot of it was, and if a lot of athletes from that pre-EPO test era were taking things anyway, it's relatively controlled in the sense of a lot of the top were doing it. The drive or the motivation of having a home Olympics and a government and an institutional outreach to try and use that as a modeling for an athlete to something to live for and as a stage to flaunt their wares, so to speak, on, is a huge driver. So it's a sort of more micro example of that, not having a championship to aim at. There's sponsorship on the line. There's national pride. There's all of that. I just think, especially after so many consecutive years where we have had those things for athletes to get up for, I just feel like it might be a bit of a bum note this year.
Yeah, that's my kind of gut feeling too. With respect to Femke Bol, I'm also with you. It's just mostly said on the pod. I think I mentioned this before too. What usually happens when athletes move up in distance is that they're going to set their best times within the first or second season of doing so, just because, it's a little bit counterintuitive. You think that there's going to be this maturation period, but the reality is that Femke Bol is stepping up reasonably late in her career. She's had a lot of really high level running already over the 400-meter hurdles. And I tend to agree with Justin on that one, that I feel like if she's going to run, her best times over 800 meters are going to happen either in this season or the next. But then conversely, the paradox there is that it is difficult to just come into a new event and sort of get that mastery of it from the get-go, which just shows how tough it is to move up in disciplines to begin with. It certainly, you even see it with the marathon guys as well too. Like it's it's just tough. I'm not so sure if I see anyone getting within a 0.3 of a second of the women's world record this year. 1:53.58, a full second off would seem to be a huge jump from what we've seen in the last 40 plus years, right?
Femke Bowl's only 25 still, though. And with modern training and the way these athletes are
True.
recovering and prolonging their careers, I don't think she's old. And it depends how she's trained.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. My bigger concern with her is why. It's not like she conquered the 4 hurdles and she's gone off to the 800. I mean, it's like she's accepting she can't beat SML, whether she admits that or not, and then to move into something else. And also, she wasn't actually that good the last 12 months compared to the level she suggested she would get to with her eventually in her hurdles. No one really thought she was going to be better than SML, but she really, and she will admit this, she really didn't run well at the Olympics last year, which I'm sure was a massive driver to look elsewhere. So I find the belief she's going to go into a totally different event and be like as good. I find it kind of insulting to Keely and Georgia Hunter-Bell. And
a little bit, right? Yeah,
imagine like saying, they're going to come into her event. I know there's a technical requirement that makes that a little bit of a silly comparison, but
totally.
No, I'm not behind it.
No, there you go, Sarg. That one's out the window. 1,500 mile. Okay, these are good ones. Kip Yegon, we can do them one by one. Kip Yegon will break her own 1,500 world record. 4 other women will run under 3:54 in the same race. That's a complete possible one for me. I think the only question is how much does Kip Yegon stand in the tank? Like, how open is her window with respect to breaking world records? Do you see another world record from her this year? Yeah?
Yeah.
40.
Oh, sorry, you just broke up a little bit.
No, you got you. Under 3:48. 3:48.65 is the.
Yeah, I mean, I
will be under 3:48.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a race with male paces and on the train, she could run probably mid 3:46 is what I think she could run. So
really?
Yeah. The way she ran in that mile, that sort of gimmicky mile, going through that quick and holding on to run what she did, I think I just do. I think you've got a woman out there running like that. It's like a guy time trialing all the time with very limited pacing, running sort of 3:49, 3:48, 3:50, and she's got that resistance. Oftentimes, when you see someone go for a record, you know that's why someone like Gensebi Debarment could never run keep building. Is that you need, and you know this, Jason, you need a sort of a body of work which is just slower than the when you reach for that record. So she's got this body of work around 3:48, 3:49, 3:50, 3:49, 3:50, 3:51, and championships coming off a slightly more moderate pace. Yeah, I think she could run low 3:48, high 3:47 in the perfect situation, and she's going to go for it because she's coming towards the end of her career.
Yeah,
and as for 4 under woman, I mean, I think that's uncontroversial. I mean, in the Olympics, and the World Champs, no, I think that's a good prediction. Yep.
All right. Again, my only question with respect to Kip Yegon is how much longer is this window open? Because she is going to have a period where, like LG, right, like all the greats had, even like Morselli, where she's not capable of breaking world records, but is still capable of being the best in the world champion, the Olympic champion. So, I mean, the only thing I'd think or be keeping in mind is he's going to go through to LA in 28 and still be dominant there. At some point around 26, 27, she's going to just naturally not be able to have that kind of that pep or that drive to be able to break the world record. So maybe not. I think it's impossible to say, but again, don't really think that's a controversial prediction. Okay. Next one, new US national records will be set at Prefontaine for both the men and the women.
Men and the women at Pre?
Yeah.
What event, sorry?
The women's mile. Over the mile. 1,500 or the mile. So actually it could be on the women's 1,500. They always have the the men's pre. Do you think the woman will set the national record in the 15 at Prefontaine? Possibly.
Who's the athlete that's going to do it?
Actually, good question. Yeah, because Shelby holds the US national record still, right? Yeah, I think so.
I thought someone broke. No,
it's like just under 355, right? That could happen. I could see that happening.
I thought one of those women broke that. Maybe I was wrong.
Should we do a fact check? No, I think Shelby still holds the US national record, and I've got a funny feeling it's right around 355.
Yeah, I mean, but could Sinclair Johnson?
Yeah, maybe.
Sinclair Johnson's always been a little bit of a disappointment to me, and I just think, given how much Hal's improved, and I think she's actually a more natural mover, and definitely got a nicer action and better kicker than Hal. But you've got to give it to Hal; she's so tough, and obviously well got out of that situation with Pete Julian's got her father coaching, and she's strong. So full credit to Hal. But I think Sinclair Johnson should be able to run. If Hal can run 350, why can't Sinclair Johnson run 352 or 353?
Tech team has just buzzed me in, Shane. 354.99 is still the US national record over 15. I mean that could go down.
Yep.
I mean, like a great rat in that race last year. Just would take somebody to be really focused on it. The difficult one is going to be that mile record for men. I don't see anybody running under 3. I mean, you've got to run 343, sub 343.8 to beat Nagusa's record.
I don't see it
happening. Not at that time of the year. You got to remember that when those guys ran that incredible mile there that year at Prefontaine, it was the Diamond League final, and it was in September. I just don't think you're going to see guys in sub 344 shape in I think it's like end of June or whenever Prefontaine is this year. So okay, no, I think we agree on that one. Men will still be looking for like the absolute champion in the 1500, someone who's going to dominate the event, like Ingebrigtsen did maybe a couple of years ago, or previously LG. So currently, we've got 10 to 12 guys standing on the start line that all think they can win every race. Do you think the 1500 is still looking for an absolute champion of sorts or player in the game, right? Jacob's time probably over, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Do you see Cole Hocker stepping up into that role?
No.
Yeah.
I think Cole Hocker is awesome. I think he could have won that 1500 if he hadn't have been an idiot and pushed through. But I think the way he took it, he wasn't having a big vitriolic spit, at least not on, he may have privately, but at least when he was interviewed, he had the grace to actually acknowledge, he was probably in a dicey situation.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think it makes him a bad dude. I mean, going back and watching that, I went and watched that 1980 Olympic 800. Ovett was way worse than Cole Hocker was. He was literally shoving people. So yeah. And then to hold his nerve and come back and win the 5,000. But I think he is a championship performer. He's the ultimate championship race. He's got that. He's obviously the 5K world champ. He's got an awesome kick. He's got a great attitude. He's a legend. But I don't think he's your sort of week in, week out Diamond League time trialing 326 threat.
No,
it's just fine.
I've got a really good inside source at Nike within track and field that says that Hocker is just a very special character who does not. Nothing else really excites him that much, and that's one of the reasons why we don't see him out there just grinding on the diamond. He doesn't feel like he has anything to prove day in, day out, a la potentially Jakob did so in the past. So I don't really see it being Hocker. I'm not sure if Jan Goose has that sort of killer X factor to be really dominant in the event. So probably the next guy up might be Laros. but who, he absolutely seemed dominant towards the end of that 2025 season, but then couldn't get it done in Tokyo. So I don't really see
Laros is
player
Laros
in the
is
15 this year.
No, I don't either. Laros is that was sort of like I've had this sort of it's not scientific. It's not even very intelligent necessarily. But I've had this intuition for quite a long time that an athlete's action and how they can hold their form is really important. If you've got two athletes running, say, around Laros's level, and one's got better, maybe a slightly half a second slower on paper, but they have nicer running form, like a Whiteman type athlete,
right,
they're better off in the champion. And Laros, he does shuffle a bit, even though he's a great talent. He kind of sits back a bit, and he sort of doesn't have that nice sprinter's action like a Whiteman has. When Whiteman comes off the shoulder,
right,
in that final, and I know he didn't hold on this year, but when he won, like Kerr's got that beautiful action too. They're sprinters; they can come off the, Gebre Selassie and Turgat had it. Bekele not so much. He was, but Bekele was just obviously an aerobic engine. He was very smooth in his sort of long speed, but I don't think Laros, and I never have. There was a lot of hype with him after but I've always been a bit iffy on Laros.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, we talked about it after the World Champs. It's like it was a bit like a Toyota chassis, wasn't he? Like the motor was the piston 100 meters trying to run a low 12-second time. That sort of just everything just got too much for the chassis, and all the bolts started flying off the car and the panels, and his form fell to pieces, which was crazy because he was running those. He was running mid 12 seconds, 12.6, 12.7 for the final 100 races to win in Zurich and Brussels. And yet, off a slower pace, when he had to really accelerate, it's like that acceleration really caught him out. He just could not hold his form together, and it came to pieces in that in the final 100 of Tokyo.
That's why I like with Sam Ruthe's prospects. I know we said he's definitely very developed. You can't run him 217 for a K if you're a Weasley little kid, but Sam's got beautiful, smooth running form. Yeah.
All right. Okay, moving forward in sort of the final section, 5K, 10K. This is a good one. I like this one. If a men's world record is broken this year, it will be in the 5,000 meters. Three groups chasing this: Ingebrigtsen, the Ethiopian pack, and then the Americans. So, yeah, I really like that one because, I think we're in agreement that the 800-meter world record, it's going to be, who knows? It seemed like it was going to get broken last year, 2025, and everybody thought that was an absolute shoo-in, and it didn't happen. We're sitting here and 140.91 still the world record. The 1,500 world record, whatever it is, it just seems to be a little bit beyond almost everybody, including Jakob. I'm not sure if he's ever going to come back into that same form in the 15. So what do you reckon? Do you think the 5,000 meter world record goes down this year? And out of it, what of those three groups? Ingebrigtsen, the Ethiopian crew, which includes Aragawi, Kajelka, Gebrewet, Germa, and then the American crew, which is Fisher, Young, Blanks. Do you think we see that?
Well, Jakob, we've been through on this channel why we think perhaps his interests and his oomph lies elsewhere with his wife and young child, and he's done so much already coming out of the vacuum created by this sort of overbearing father in the court case, maybe, and certainly he's lost a lot with that injury, and he was a shadow of himself. So I don't think this year, I'm not saying he's written off forever, but I think that rules him out for this year. I think that the Ethiopians have been trying to, been sniffing around that record and have been really close for a long time, but they really haven't had a genuine prospect to actually make a tilt at it since Bekele. No, I don't see any of the Ethiopians. Kajalcha maybe, but he's just too goofy, and I just, I don't know, I can imagine Kajalcha getting the closest, but then sort of tripping up with 50 to go or something.
He looked last year as well, right? He had a few races where he really tried to go after it and then just exploded. Yeah, Oslo.
So, and the Americans, no. I mean, they're great, but I think they're all like 2-3 years, which is good for LA, good 2 or 3 years away from being at the absolute peak. Could someone get, the only thing I will say is I think it's actually a little bit of a soft record, the 5 and the 10, but no, but both of them. I tell you why. With the 5,000, with all the shoes and the wave light, I think a Bikili or a Daniel Coleman talent in this era could run 12:31 or 12:32. I don't see it up to the same level with those factors taken into account. 10,000, I remember Renato Canova had some very good analysis on Let's Run many moons ago around the fact that it's weaker simply because it doesn't get run very often.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I mean, I sort of, I'm with you on that one. I guess it would probably be the most likely to go down, but I don't think we're going to see this record go down this year.
Probably more likely because it gets raced more often, though, more than anything. Yeah.
Jakob to me is just too much of an unknown right now. I mean, I don't know how you can be putting too many eggs into his basket, given that he hasn't raced, at that kind of performance level in over a year, and now it seems like there's some more injury concerns with him, and then you just factor in all these other things that you pointed out, in other podcasts and just before, like at some point as well, like you're just like, enough's enough. I've got other things in my life. I've made a lot of money. I'm a dad now. I've got other things that interest me. I just wonder if his motivation level is at the same high level. The Ethiopian guys, I think that ship sailed too. Though they seem poised after 2024. Gebrahim, he broke the Ethiopian record. He smashed Bikili's national record. And all those guys, they had that big, they couldn't repeat it a year later, and the weather was good because we saw Nico Young run that historic performance for the Americans and winning that DL there. So I don't see it from the Ethiopian crew either. And then the Americans, I mean, there's a big difference between running 12:45, which is insanely good running, but there's a big difference between that and running 12:35. And so, I mean, Grant Fisher to me is coming to the end of his career. I think his window is closing in terms of like his elite performances. Plus, he just got engaged, so he's looking, to me, that signals, and so it should, that he's looking forward to other things in his life that aren't just 5 and 10,000 meter running. So good for him there. So I'm not so sure whether we're going to see a men's 5,000 meter world record this year. I'd be very surprised if that one went down. He's got another prediction here. Kenyan women continue to rule. I mean, that one's pretty straightforward. Kipyegon's going to have a couple of...
Trump continues to rule.
The president of Venezuela continues to rule.
Not.
Kipyegon is going to have a couple attempts at getting the world record, but will fail. Chebet's going to avoid racing Kipyegon in order to protect the world record. Doesn't want to risk losing to her. I mean, that makes a lot of sense there. Kipyegon, do you think she'll have a few cracks at that world 5,000 meter record?
Yeah, why not?
Do you think she can run under 14?
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, maybe I take that.
Yeah, it's a bit far off.
I said yes initially, then I remembered how easily Chebet handled her, which shows she, given her level at 1,500, I'm talking about Kipyegon here, showed she had very little in the tank when Chebet stretched her out like that, so maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
I mean, it's in the ballpark. Put it this way, it's much more likely that Kipyegon alone, if I had to pick Kipyegon versus the field for the men's, I'd say like without even having to think Kipyegon.
Yeah.
To give it some perspective.
Yep. All right. And the final prediction here in the 5K, I love this one. Beamish will be the first New Zealander to go under 13, but will finish down the field doing so. Well, I mean, he's not going to be running under 12:50, which probably you have to do to not finish down the field in one of these races now. But do you see Beamish running under 13 minutes for 5K?
I think he could do it. I think he could do it, but I think he's my kind of, he's your sort of we're harking back to sort of a bygone era with the long locks and the winning the world champs. Then he sort of gets injured a bit and he goofs around and does his little photos on Instagram and his little coffee pods, and sort of, so they sort of cool guy images out the back of a 4-wheel drive in the car park at Boulder or whatever they are. Like, I just feel like he's not your guy who's grinding it out on the circuit trying to eke out like a 13 flat. It's almost beneath him. He's nah. I think he could physically run that, but I don't know if you're going to see him lining up and running 12:57.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I mean,
he could.
I think he's got the talent to do so.
Yeah,
the question is, do the pieces of the puzzle fall together?
Yeah.
I mean, because he's run 13:05 or 13:04 indoors, which is much faster than the outdoor record. So
He was the world indoor 1,500 meter champion.
Yeah,
the same year, wasn't it? That Cole Hocker won.
Yes, 04.
Yeah, the Olympic 1,500 outdoors. He's the world steeplechase champion against a guy who's been this, unrivaled Superman of that event for many years. Could he run under 13? Yeah, I mean, some pretty mediocre talents when you compare it to that CV that we just touched on have run under 13. So yes, he could. It's not your sort of David Moorcroft 13 flat. It's a generation's moved on from that being the benchmark of a real world-class 5K runner. It's sort of, that's gone to like 12:48 now, 12:47.
No, I agree. Yeah. I mean, the big question is really, does he stay healthy? Does the right race happen at the right time? It'd still be a big effort for him. Like, it's not like he can just go out there and, cruise around. Like, you still got to put in some effort to run in 15 minutes. But do I see that happening? I mean, that's the big question. Do you see the pieces of the puzzle falling? Yeah, I would put that's a real 50-50 for me. But I still like the prediction that he could potentially do it.
How many more predictions does this guy have? Because I need to go and have some Eggs Benedict pretty soon.
No, we're just about done. He's got here some notes on 10K. That doesn't matter. And also the 3K steeplechase. Bakali's going to come back and dominate it, motivated after his loss in Tokyo, but this will be his final season at the top. Yeah, maybe. I mean, again, who knows? And I mean, Bakali was always his best in championship races anyway, until Beamish brought him to tears in Tokyo. Great moment there. And then on the women's side, there will be a world record in the women's 3K steeplechase. I'm going to be perfectly honest. That is not an event that I really have that much interest in, and I don't know much about it. And they're all ex-Kenyans running for Bahrain, and
yeah, I
Qatar.
agree. And I mean,
doesn't really interest me.
Well,
Sorry.
The problem is not even that. The problem is that it's like an A and a B race.
Yeah.
They go out, and within about 80 meters, there's 2 packs.
Yes.
And then the camera you can't even watch the other athletes. It's got like these 5, like you said, African athletes often representing countries they're not domiciled in or, don't really belong to. So they can get around the fact that there's so many great African women, which is great. And then you've got all of the other athletes running like 30 seconds at times slower in a final. So it's not inspiring stuff. And you can say, oh, that's elitist. We're talking about, we're a elite track and field podcast. If you want to go down to your local park run and watch people out there doing, working on their health and fitness, good for them. I haven't been doing a lot of that myself, so I don't turn my nose up at that. But we're talking about watching like the elite of the elite, practice their craft. And it's. I agree. It's a laborious watch. When you flick it on, it's just like often have to get it on mute, and then 9 minutes 35 seconds later, it's over.
And for some reason, the pacemakers never ever stick to the wave light, even though everybody has to know by now how advantageous that is for running fast. The lights go off, the pacemakers are like 30 meters ahead of it. And a lot of the time in those races, I'm just like, oh my God, I cannot just watch this. So I don't know. Maybe the world record gets broken.
I don't think it's just the women's too. Like our own Beamish winning was exciting. But the men's, ever since the sort of the auspices of the Kenyan kind of stronghold on the steeples has been sort of dismantled for various reasons. Even the men's steeple's it's been a little bit average for a while. Yeah. All
right, should we wrap it up? You've got to go off and get some Eggs Benedict. You've got to also watch your Australian cricket team trying to avenge themselves after losing the marquee test of the summer, Shane. the Boxing Day test.
As I said to one of the people that I work with, said so pithily to a lawyer once who was threatening to put our client's company into liquidation, quote, "We are not concerned by your threat to put our client's company into liquidation." I feel very similarly about the rest of this Ashes series. It's in the bag.
Well, the English,
Big Paddy Cummins has got his feet up.
Yeah. Well, they did it well yesterday, though, the English, right? 230 or 250 for 3 at close.
They do, but I suspect that groundskeeper, if he doesn't want to get shot dead in one of those like sort of Sydney side gang gang killings after the groundsman at Melbourne allegedly cost them 14 to 16 million. They've forecasted it, that they lost from the MCG from having too tough a pitch. So that Sydney guy's probably not sleeping a lot at the moment. Fuck, let's better get to at least the third day,
mate. I would have had the hairdryer and the extension cord out there just drying that pitch, and I would have turned it into like the old infamous BYC pitch at Tairua that time where me, you, Kerr, and Chris Wheeler went down. I would have turned it into that situation that happened in Melbourne. It would have just been like a subcontinent runway there. But anyway,
you love your conspiracy theories. Here's this: they went off yesterday. After 45 overs for bad light? Do you reckon? Is there any alongside the moon landing in 9/11? Is there a conspiracy theory there possible that the light was fine and that these guys needed to get it into the fifth day?
Oh, so you think they made the test shorter so they could just get it into the? I got you.
No, but it's just right for all the dickwhackers to come out with the conspiracy going. This is a revenue generating decision.
Shane, all I will say is this: I don't have any real comment on that. I don't know, but it wouldn't be the first time if that happened. It wouldn't be the first time in the history of the world that something was manipulated for the cause of making revenue.
No.
I mean, that's what we've done today with this podcast here. We've stretched it out to almost 90 minutes because we get paid by the minute. So it's
because we're a couple of stretches, mate. That's why.
we get paid by the network by the minute. So anyway, hey, that was a lot of fun. Good stuff there. I'll take the win as the quiz champion for now. But yeah, first pod of 2026 in the bag. It was a great one.
As one of my staff members said to me once, apparently told her this, and then I was trying to get her to do something, like buy some sort of sports card or something, and she said to me, "Never trust a desperate man." He's been on the back foot for a while now, and he's got a little quiz victory, and I will never hear the end of this.
All right, mate. Hey, this was fun. We will catch you next week, and I think we've already got some stuff lined up to talk about then too.
Good stuff, mate. Take it easy.
All right, mate. Have a good one. Enjoy the week. Enjoy that Eggs Benedict.
See you, mate.
Shano.